everybody. Welcome to the GRIMALDI podcast. We do have a very special guest who's trying to get logged in right now. But while we wait for that, we're going to go to some videos here to show you exactly what is going on. And we got him on. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
I'm not sure. Can you see if you're muted?
Let's see.
I've tried it all.
You can't hear me at all? Let me try this here. We're experiencing some technical difficulties. Let me try this here. I'm going to switch my headphones.
Wild.
Let's try this one. Can you hear me now? Any luck? Can you hear me now? Nothing. Let me try resending that link. I'm going to resend you the link. We're going to try that, okay? All right. Give me 1 second here. All right. So I'm going to resend him the link here. But in the meantime, what I am going to do here for you, we're going to put together this. So this one here is an old man that was caught shooting down some drones. And let me see here. Check out this one here. Pretty funny stuff. But this guy was caught shooting down drones.
House and you shoot at it? I'm gonna be real blunt with you and ask.
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
You want a coffee in the front?
Whatever you need to do about protocol.
Yeah.
Just let me know if it's too tight, all right?
I can't breathe. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
All right, let's go.
And that guy is a hero, right? He he does that. So we got another one here. So this one here is a video of Trump with the Prime Minister of Japan, and I am going to get this video sent back over to Mr. Vlassis so we can get him on. But check this one out. This one here is the President of the United States. As we do this, check this out here.
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right? You know, he's asking me, no, you believe in surprise, I think much more so than us. And we had to surprise him, and we did. And because of that surprise, we knocked out the first 2 days. We probably
So he's asking, like, why didn't they tell him that, right? And I think it's pretty obvious why they did not let that go that way. Let me see. I'm trying to get, because we were going to talk sports and fitness today, and I'm just trying to get this resent over here to Mr. Vlassis so we can get on there. All right, let's see if that works. So continuing on, though, let's see if that fixes that issue on our Zoom. And hopefully that fixes that situation. I guess we will see.
Recording in progress.
Can you hear
I
me
hear it
now?
now.
All right, here we go.
Oh, wait, hold on. I hear Zoom. It's so crazy. I can't hear you. I can hear Zoom talking to me, but I cannot hear you talking. Like
That's
when
weird.
you just hit recording, it said recording in progress.
But
and
you
I can
can't hear me.
it,
You can't hear
but
me.
I can't hear you. Nope.
Crazy. Fuck. What the hell is going on here? We're gonna try to make this work here. We got him on. We got Sir Vlassis here. Let me see if I can tweak something here. I don't know.
Can you try it without your headphones?
Let me drop these, yeah. How about now?
Still nothing.
Huh. Fuck. That is crazy. I'm not sure what here. Let me see. I don't know what would be doing that. My audio's on. Let me try leaving this. Can you hear me now? I can't hear you either now. That didn't work at all. How about now?
Says you're connected to audio, but I do not see you or
Crazy.
hear you.
Well, we're trying. We're trying. Audio settings, headphones. Yeah, this is crazy. Let's see. Microphone.
How about it's so fucking weird.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Beautiful. All right. I'm not sure what I did, but we got it. All right, we got
Cool.
Tony Vlassis with us, folks.
Oh
All
shit.
right. Let's go. Let's go. All right. So let me get this shit off the screen here. So you have been doing some crazy stuff with like bodybuilding, health, all this stuff. So like, tell me, how did you get into that? How'd you get into the whole bodybuilding thing?
Well, I guess as you know, probably just as well as anybody, I was a pretty big drinker back in the day. So
I still am. So, no, I try not to.
There you go, right? So yeah, I had to hang up my drinking shoes pretty early. But along the way, so at about 27, I moved to Orlando for that trading job. And when I got that job, the owner who became my mentor, he was a baller, and he pretty much was like, have you ever heard of this thing called transcendental meditation? And I was like, nope. And he's like, do you know who Ray Dalio is? I'm like, I do. Ray Dalio is the biggest hedge fund manager on the planet, right? Like the most successful money manager, maybe with the exception of like Jim Simmons that's ever lived. So anyways, I was like, yeah, I know him. And yes, I want to be rich. So I'll do whatever this thing is. So little did I know that I embarked upon pretty much accidentally creating a very detailed yoga practice. And that's
Really?
kind of what started everything. Yeah. So I started this meditation, and then I went to a doctor, and the doctor was like, cool. So like your blood pressure's high, your cholesterol's high, you're about 270 pounds. And like, we're just going to get you on the whole, kind of pharma baseline foundation going right at 27. And I was raised by a family of people that lived out of prescription or with prescription drugs out of a little shoebox. So I didn't want to do that. So I was like, all right, I was a fat guy in an Anytime Fitness, and I kind of started there. Then they opened a CrossFit gym, and I had slammed some weights in my day. So I was like, that's kind of cool. What's this? Walked into that, and there was a little British man sitting there. His name was Mark, and he became my first coach. From there, I went in to do like competitive weightlifting and CrossFit and a bunch of things. And one day he was like, do you know what a macro is? And I was like, nope. So a macro is like obviously protein, carbs, and fats, like how you count your calories as, a bodybuilder or anyone in, fitness or health. Never done any of that. So that's when I learned about a macro. And this is probably when, I left in like 2015. This is probably like 2017-ish. And then I started losing weight. I quit drinking. I quit smoking. Like all these things kind of started happening. My physique changed. And it just kind of was a self-fulfilling thing. I started doing a lot of strong guy stuff and realized like I really don't want to be strong. I really just want to look good naked. And then that's what it is, right? That's what I'm trying to do.
So you're saying there's hope for people like me other than Ozempic? That's what you're saying?
I am. I'm saying there is, man. I'm saying there is.
I just have to show a little self-control. That's what you're saying.
I mean, you think it is. It's not even, I would say in the beginning, you just have to start the process, right? And then because everything along the way, like I try to never say I'll never do something because I pretty much said like, I'll never count my calories. I'll never, weigh my food. And within 2 years, I was weighing my food and all the things. So it's like, every step brings a new thing. I lost 20 pounds quitting drinking.
I
Like,
believe
and
that.
that was
Yeah.
it.
I did too, actually, when I got my first DUI. I had to stop drinking for a while, and I fucking lost like
That's
20 pounds. Everybody's like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" It's like, well,
yeah,
just can't drink. It's
the
not my
traditional,
choice.
yeah, the traditional Midwest diet, right? Get a
Right,
DUI and quit
exactly.
drinking.
Exactly. Then you got the trifecta of the women, you know?
Oh yeah, of course. How could you forget,
How
right?
could you
Also,
forget?
yeah, recently divorced, so I have one of those too, right?
Oh shit, that's funny. So you're doing the bodybuilding competitions now, right? Aren't you?
Oh yeah, I do natural competitions. I coach. I don't really coach competitors because I'm not a very good bodybuilder. Like usually good bodybuilders are like people that are normally pretty tiny and then can add muscle easily and usually start winning shows in their early 20s. They don't say like, I'll give this thing a shot at 35, you know. So
Yeah. Right, right. Yeah.
yeah, so it's a passion project for me. I get on stage in my little undies and get all spray tanned up and pose around.
So what is like that 72 hours before that like? Like you are like they dehydrate to show everything muscle wise, right? There's a very strict thing that's
It's
probably pretty
it's
unhealthy.
I would say as a natural, it's less because a lot of the reason that a lot of people have to dehydrate themselves so much is because all of the compounds cause you to hold water. So you're doing all these different like pharmaceutical interventions if you're not natural and you're an enhanced bodybuilder, and that's going to cause your body because you're messing with your hormones specifically, and a hormone dictates whether how much water you hold or don't hold. And so that's a
Interesting.
lot more of a thing in like enhanced bodybuilding and natural bodybuilding. It's way like peak week is what we call it, and it's a week, and you kind of like really manipulate things the final week, and everybody's is different. And like some people starve themselves and then eat like a Little Caesars pizza the night before, and that's what they need. And like some people like have to like I have to eat a bunch of food the weekend before and then get skinny into the show and hope that I get skinny enough show day. If
I
that
mean,
makes
I
sense.
couldn't
Because like
imagine not eating. I mean, that would just be awful. Like you just you'd want to eat so bad. Like, is there something that after that you crave? Like, I need to eat this.
in the I've gotten way better at it. In the beginning, it was always like sweets, like donuts, things like that. Like that's the first thing you want because I mean, you've been eat like you talk about a week. I mean, if you're prepping for a natural show, it's at least like 3 to 4 months of pretty strict dieting. So I might be eating like chicken and rice or steak and broccoli like every meal if it's not a protein shake.
Gotcha.
And
See, that
that's
was
like
going to be my
for a
next
few.
question. What does that diet look like,
Yeah.
too? Yeah, I mean,
I have to keep it simple because if I try and be like I try to be like, all right, every food is a macronutrient. So I use ground chicken because I've been on a diet for 11 years, so I can't eat another fucking chicken breast. So I eat ground
Believe.
chicken,
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes
and,
sense. I mean,
and
yeah, eat the same thing
yeah,
every day, you know?
and it's like chicken breast. If you've ever had like a dry one or a bad one, it is the worst experience. And ground chicken just has a lot more margin for error, I found. So that's usually what I do these days. So like that's my protein. White rice is my carb, and then I'll use either dark chocolate, like separately, not in it, or olive oil on top of it as like a fat. And then I
So they
have
say that dark chocolate's really good for the heart and everything like that.
oh yeah, I dark chocolate's like when I quit drinking, I really thought like it's so true. Like I got into the sweets, and like now that's like I'm like a pregnant chick. I'm like I need my ice cream and cakes and things every once in a while, just to keep everything in line because it does like
You
after
want
so
it,
many
you
years
crave
of
it.
drinking, the body craves that like you go out and drink it. I used to go out and drink 12, 16 beers, right? That's like how many carbohydrates?
Right.
Like
Oh, my God,
even
yeah. You
yeah.
don't realize that like a
So
little shot,
it's
depending on if it's clear or not, is like
yeah.
100 calories a piece, you know?
Yeah, and it's all carbs, right? It's
Right.
like all that stuff's carbs. So it's I go out and drink all pretty much 7 days a week and just have all these carbs. And then now that's my thing is like the ice cream, the cakes, all the things. So that's the first thing I crave when I get off stage. But the dark chocolate is like a great little hack for that, right? Because it's healthy and it's also I just count it as a fat. So most of the fat that I'd eat during the day would either come from animal proteins, olive oil, or dark chocolate.
Hmm. Interesting. So that's what you do. You use a lot of like the olive oil instead of like the other shit, whatever it is,
Yeah, I
the
try to
less
stick
healthy.
to. Yeah, I try. I mean, I have 5 great ancestors from Greece, so it would be a disrespect for me to not, hit my olive oil the way I do. So that's what I choose. Coconut oil, stuff like that's also fine. I would stay, like, as a health coach, I would tell people to stay away from a lot of crazy, like, seed oils and processed oils, just because the makeup of the fat is a lot different. Whereas, you get a lot more omega-6, which is kind of a more aggressive, angry fat that usually causes inflammation, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And you don't
they
get
say a lot of the foods that we eat, like especially processed, that really causes like body-wide inflammation. This would cause heart problems, cause everything. Like inflation, especially for like pregnant women, is like terrible. But a lot of the food we eat that's processed, I hear, does that same kind of thing.
Yeah, so, it's funny because you think all these smart people in the world, like, what do? Well, they're trading stocks and commodities. They're pretty much rocket scientists creating algorithms. They're building defense materials, or they're literally like figuring out the bliss point in your food, which says like how much fat and sugar do I need to add to this so that once you pop, you just can't stop. And those scientists make a shit ton of money, but they kill humans, and it's only illegal to do it in the U.S. So you got to get it while the getting's good, right?
Well, they say that sugar is in fact very, very addictive, and people don't
It's
realize it.
yeah, it's one of the few things that's like physiologically addictive, right? Like that actually like is in your body. Like alcohol is very physiologically or physically addictive.
Right.
Sugar, cocaine's, things like that. Whereas like, I mean, anybody that's smoked a ton of weed like myself knows that like they say weed's not addictive because it's not physically addictive, but it's very like psychologically addictive, right? Where it's like very ritualized and things like that. So
Yeah.
that's its own type of thing. But yeah, sugar is like, I coach a lot of clients, and sugar is like one of those things where it's like people do like, I go fucking crazy. It's like you're literally coming off a drug right now,
Right.
and people do. You have to anticipate that you're going to be a little off, and it is funny, but I mean, it's like we were talking about steps. It's like drinking 20 pounds for me, cutting out sugar and like all the fats, and like just eating, not even getting a crazy diet, but like knowing how many calories I'm eating of healthy food, 20 pounds right there, right? Like no sugar, no real seed oils, just healthy foods, like within reason, another 20 pounds right there. So like I started at about 270, it's like 250. Now I'm like 230, and I'm just like in the gym now. You know what I mean? And then it's like a lot of that comes from, there's 20 pounds to just learning how to exercise and do it correctly and consistently through time, and balance the different types of cardio with resistance training and things like that. Now it's like I'm at 210, and I haven't done anything crazy yet. And this is where like I start doing the crazy things, like getting 6 meals a day of chicken and rice, and like really manipulating things and adding excessive cardio in. But I also love it. Like it's not even like my whole goal is to just get paid to live this lifestyle, because I was asked at my birthday, like, what are you going to do today? I'm like, live every fucking day like it's my birthday. I go to the gym, I do yoga, I coach some clients, I smoke some weed, I have some fun, I eat some cakes, whatever. Like, yeah, and that's my life, So that's really, and I don't think that should be everyone's life, because it shouldn't. But I'm 38, I have no kids, I have a vasectomy, and all I have is a 20-pound golden doodle. So like, I'm in a place where I get to live that way. And if a guy, that has a family, a wife, a job, and all those things can add some healthiness into their life, I always say, like, I would never have a client do anything more than me. So I'm always doing the most. So anything I ask someone to do, I'm already doing, if that makes sense, right?
Totally.
So it's like, yeah, wherever people are at, it's like there's always those little things in the beginning, and it's just how far do you want to take it? Like, because if you just keep going, eventually you're on stage, but you can stop at like look good on the beach, right? Like you can stop anywhere. You can, so it's just, and every step just has another little sacrifice, another little, addition of things, or letting go of, or whatever it may be.
Are you addicted to this life? I mean, like, obviously it sounds like it, but like,
yeah,
you're addicted to it.
I'm addicted to anything, Drew. As you know, if I'm a professional anything, it's a professional addict. So I've been addicted to everything, from alcohol to porn to women to whatever it may be, to Adderall, Xanax, like you name it, brother. Like trading was an addiction. Like everything I do is an addiction. And I've learned in my life, and I've done a lot of yoga and a lot of things and a lot of meditation. I've learned that like none of it's ever going away. Like I'm never not going to be an addict. So I might as well
Right.
just like be a good addict, you know?
Right.
Like
They say
like,
knowing yourself is to know thy enemy.
yeah.
There's some truth to that. I mean,
And
I
my
know I'm
enemy
the
is
same way.
myself. Yeah.
That's why I chose Jesus Christ, friend.
I'm a huge fan of Jesus Christ. I'm not gonna lie. I just don't agree with with some of the people that promote him. But me and Jesus are homies.
Yeah, well, you know, you were talking earlier about how about how you started with the yoga thing, and when I was still playing tennis, I tried to get into that, and I'm so not flexible. I haven't been able to touch my toes since I was 13. If you don't believe me, just ask Father Bob. But
That's a good one right there. If you know, you know.
if you know, you know. But yeah, that was a weird one too, man. But like that's one of the reasons too. Like I read the Bible every single day. That's one of the parts of my life where I'm pretty dedicated. But fuck, man, going to church, you cannot get me to go back to church ever since that weird shit that they did with all the priests and all of that. Like the guy, like we were just talking about Father Bob. He was in around us as kids, and this guy's a
Yeah.
fucking pedophile. And it's like they ended up raiding like the houses and shit. Like that shit was bizarre, man. But being going to that, I don't go to church, and you'll never get me
Yeah.
to go to church again. But reading, the Bible, I feel like that's still good, But
Oh, it's been a huge part of my journey and like, I mean, even Jesus said, you're not, what do you do? He went into churches and synagogues and kicked over tables and said,
right,
go into your room and close the door and find fucking God. And like, what is that but like meditation and going within? And I think, that's what yoga says. Yoga isn't a religion. It is a way of, self-realization and anything. And a lot of people in East, like if you go to India and you're like, I love Jesus, they're like, I fucking love Jesus too. The only difference is I don't believe he was the only one.
right,
And that's it, and that's where the differs that's where it changes. But
right,
and
agreed.
that's where I differ too. I believe Jesus, I believe 100% in Jesus. I actually have a very close relationship with Jesus, but like I just don't think he was the only one. He's like our avatar, right? Because we're like white people from the West, and he was ours. But like,
Right,
if it was 4,000 years ago, it might be an elephant with four arms or whatever. It's like who knows? It's all a different time and place. And I think the West is finally starting to realize that maybe these things, like maybe there doesn't need to be a gatekeeper to this.
I
Like
agree,
maybe we can all just find it
100%
ourselves.
agree. I think that's so important. You just find the spirituality yourself, and like people harness it different ways. Like I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like we were talking about, we're both one of those people where we're always kind of dealing with our own demons, and it's like, listen, I've done some pretty bad shit in my day, but thank goodness that the good Lord has redeemed me, and that's how I stay on the straight and narrow. And I would rather sit with somebody who's been a sinner and then has said, "Oh, we've been redeemed," than somebody who sits there and says, "I have never done anything wrong," and just this self-righteous bullshit. That's can't stand them. Can't stand those
Is
people.
there any? I mean, if you could teach your kids to run away from any one person, I'd say it'd be that one right there, right?
Or Father Bob, yeah.
Or I'm sure he would say he had no faults, right?
Yes, it's the only time. It's the only time ever in life that being ugly worked in my favor.
I'm telling you.
He went after everybody else except for me. Now I got like this complex, like what was wrong
I
with
know.
me?
Now you got a drinking problem, so what are you gonna do, right?
It's only a problem if you admit it, right? But
that's the game.
so, what are your goals with the bodybuilding stuff? What do you want to accomplish? Do you want to start winning some comps? I mean, obviously you want to, but what's
So
the end goal?
once again, you know me, and you know that I in the past have been a very goal oriented person, and in my yogic journey, there's one thing I've learned, and it is I forgot Vince Vaughn's character from Dodgeball, but if I don't have goals, I'm never disappointed, right? So that's kind of like I have intentions and things that I'd really like to accomplish, but I never try and make them outcome based. So there's how there's the Olympia in bodybuilding, like that Arnold and all the people go to. There's a natural Olympia, and it's something nobody knows about. It's held in Vegas like a month after the Olympia. But it's like one of the biggest natural shows on the planet. So I'm going to get on that stage as an amateur. Now, how you do that is all I have to do is compete in 2 shows this year. So there's 2 shows, and I'm living in Phoenix right now. I'm in the Phoenix area. There's 2 shows in this organization in Phoenix in August and October. So I'm going to get on stage for both of those. And just by getting on stage for both of those, that will qualify me for the Natural Olympia. So that's like, I wouldn't say it's a goal because it's not like,
That's
it's
tight,
way
though.
more of like a, yeah. So that's, and in reality, I want to get that photo on that stage. And then I'll be like, do I ever want to do this again? Because it's a lot of work and it's so much. And it's like, I've realized that I thought I wanted to win a pro card and be a pro natural bodybuilder, but I realized that, and you learn this in bodybuilding, is like you kind of just put it up to a group of strangers you don't know that are sitting there judging you, that are judges, and they have all of their biases, and you don't know what the promoter of the show, you don't know anything.
Right.
So having any type of like, I really want to win this, just left me very upset and not enjoying the journey at all. And ever since I was like, I did a show in Vegas. It was the last show I did. And I was like, I don't fucking care. Like, I'm going to Vegas alone. It's the first time I'm going to be alone since like God knows when. I'm recently divorced. Like, I'm just going to go and have fun and do it. And I did. And I had a blast. And, it was the first time that I was just like, do it. And that's kind of what led to this season. I was like, well, what if I did a season that way where like I didn't stress about it. I didn't worry. I just fucking enjoyed it. And like, if I do this right, I'm going to get an awesome photo in November. So if I had a goal, if I had to call it a goal, it'd be that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you said you got divorced. I have yet to meet my future former Mrs. Grimaldi, but we'll see. I believe she's out there.
I mean,
the
I'm
future
sure
former.
She
She's sitting in a McDonald's somewhere waiting for me, going, "Where is he?"
Yeah, I mean, if that's where you're looking at and you're still in your area, baby, I'm sure you could go find one right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. Lot of fish in the sea. A lot of fish out there. Plenty of fish, maybe.
A lot of manatees.
A lot of no shit. Oh fuck. So, what would you recommend for somebody wanting to get into bodybuilding? What would you recommend? What would be the place to start?
I would say don't start with the intention of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
I would say start with the intention, like if I was talking to you specifically, I would say start with health. Because all of this started because the doctor told me, like, if you don't get your shit together, you're going to take a dirt nap. So it all started with health. And that's why, one of the main reasons why I've stayed natural. Another, knowing that I am an addict. And if I do have body dysmorphia. So if I added drugs into this equation, I could only imagine how terrible it would go. Right. So, I mean, but like start with health. Start with health as like the cornerstone. And then once you start reeling in the health portion and like a doctor's like, yeah, dude, you're pretty healthy, then start looking at like the aesthetic part. And, bodybuilding is an illusion and it's all about, building the right parts the right way and taking down the right parts the right way and creating like, a statue of yourself that, a temple to your soul, you could say, right? If you really want to, because that's kind of like what I'm doing. And it's an interesting game. And each step is just like another one. Like the first step is to get skinny. And then usually when guys get skinny, the first thing they realize is, oh shit, I didn't have as much muscle as I thought I did. So that's what happened to me. I went from 270 pounds to 165 pounds. And I was like, where did all my muscle go? And I was like, oh, it wasn't muscle. That was just like, it was just fat and beef. And you know what I mean?
Right,
and then
right.
I realized, yeah. So then I realized like, oh, like I need to add some size to this frame. So then it's like, how do I do that? And that, it was a 4-year journey, 5-year journey to lose the weight. And then it's been, a 4 or 5-year journey to like consciously add tissue back to my frame. And people now look at me and are like, dude, you look awesome. And it's like, been doing this 11 years. I'm really like, no one gave a shit for fucking 9.5. So it's like, it's an interesting thing how it does just take like anything you do in life, time is always an underrated component. And it's funny because it's the only variable that isn't worth like speeding up. So you might as well just learn to fucking that's like why people say enjoy the process, is because like if you want to get rich, like most millionaires are over 60.
Right.
And there's just like, because
and they're dating 18-year-olds. That gives me hope.
Yeah, well, I mean, dude, that's right. Like I mean it's like it's my first girlfriend, my first long-term girlfriend, I dated for quite a while, and then I kind of like she was like my age, and then I went 4 years back and married my wife, and now I'm just like, well, maybe I just go now I'm like 8 years back, right? And like it's just kind of every iteration you just have to go kind of just stay closer to the same age. So I don't know, it seems to work because I'll tell you what, as a man, I'm 38, I've never looked better. And like as you have to leverage that as a man because it doesn't work that way as a woman. So like
Correct.
it's a powerful thing, men out there listening. Like you can look better at like seriously feel like I created a time machine because at 27 I was fat, I had no self-confidence, I felt terrible, I felt like I was 40. And now at 38, I don't know that I'm not 18. Like there's times where like I'll be with a woman. Like I was dating a woman. I'm 38. I was dating a woman that was 42, and there was a part of me that's like, I feel like I'm dating my friend's mom because like I haven't grown up at all from 18. Like that's where I'm still kind of pegged. So it's wild.
See, I think you hit the nail on the head too, and I've said this before as well. Men are in their prime later in life, you know, and I think people, that are in their 20s, they just have this mindset where it's like, man, I'm in the prime of my life, like I'm young, I can do anything, and it's like for men, it's much more different than it is for women because men that manliness of trial and error, of failing, of getting rejected, of getting used to getting rejected, like we are in our prime in our, I think, 30s, late 40s. That's why you got guys like Al Pacino having kids in their 80s. I don't know who would want to do that, but
I mean, like I said, I got my vasectomy at 33, so I don't know who would want to do that. But anyways, it's funny because Aristotle said that. He said, like your best soldiers are 35 years old, and this is back then. And he was in his like the whole idea behind it was that you have these young guys that have the power and the strength, but it's all emotion behind their sword. Whereas like as you get into your 30s, you have that strength and that power, but you have that like grace and control. Like most people in prison get there between like 16 and 22, right?
Right.
Because you have all of your testosterone and no maturity to harness it.
Right.
It's just, it's like, and I mean, every man know, like I can't say most men know, like that is a rough age where it's like, it's crazy. And I mean, if you're like me and there was no father figure there, it's just like, here's a mom and it's like, oh, cool. So now you're an adult fucking man with a beard at 16 and here's a 5'2" woman like trying to teach you how to be. It just doesn't work. And then it's like if the world does it, it's like, well, I mean, it's going to be the police, it's going to be the military, or it's probably going to be Jack and Jim, who are the fucking two that raised me, right? Because that's like what I did. I just did what my father did and went into the bar, and that's where I learned how to be a man. And it's fucking sad, but it's like what we all did. And it's I think if anything, even a guy like yourself, I think it's important that we're around. But I think that we have a duty to like, there are a ton of men that are 16 that don't have any father men.
Agree. Yeah. Right. And that's like, where you learn a lot of good values. I mean, yeah.
100%. And like, if you and I can be in that, because like, we're the age now at 38 when my dad was 21 when he impregnated my mom, and that's about as much of a father as he was ever to me. But nonetheless, like when I was 20, he was 38, and that's how old I am now. And that is other way. When I was 18, he was 38, and that's been a crazy thing to me that like there's 18-year-old, like I could father an 18-year-old right now,
right?
And like there's like I don't have an 18-year-old that I know of. I could realistically, but I don't that I know of. So like I feel like it's my duty in some way, and I try to my best to make myself available to that, right? And I think it's like everybody seems to make a big deal out of like the population, but there's been a huge amount of people that have just been neglected anyways, like children and things all through time.
I agree.
It's like there's plenty of people to be raised, and I think that it's an important thing and it's an important time. And I think now more than ever, like men in whatever capacity, like, and you don't have to be tough or angry or anything. Just like to tell another man, like you can do this is like an important thing. And
100%.
I didn't hear that until I was way too old. Like, I think the first time I actually heard that, like a developed man earnestly tell me that was on YouTube, and it was Jordan Peterson in 2017. And that was a big reason, like, why I quit drinking.
Yeah.
And
I too, I don't
it's,
drink like I used to. I mean, it's very rare, but I mean, like to think that I used to do it like every day. I sit there and I'm like, what the hell was I ever doing? So unhealthy. I didn't feel good, didn't look good. And the weight just came off when I stopped drinking, you know? It's crazy.
it's,
It's
it
so
is.
unhealthy.
And it's like, we're raised in an area where that was like,
That was everything.
it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy that you and I can say that we like legitimately drank every day. And like, I've been, I lived in Orlando. I live in Arizona. Like, there's people that like you. Like, that is fucking insane.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that we know that like, oh, like in your 20s drank every day, like for not even just like for a week, like for
Every day.
years.
Yes.
Yeah, just every day. Like,
Jameson was my
holy
best
shit.
friend.
It's, yeah, I mean, it's a crazy thing. And like about how normal it is in the environment we were raised in is seriously like I it's like a hard thing has been for me to like come around to like the people that like my family that were just like, yeah, that's normal. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Right.
just it's like part of me is like, yeah, I had to be myself, and I respect the space that I was given, but part of me was like, somebody needed to be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
Like, you
Yeah.
can't be 24 and just like have
Slamming
a
every day.
2-year buzz.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's why I was never like really too afraid of COVID. I'm like, dude, I was a lush for like 3 years
Yeah.
straight. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, what? There's nothing that's gonna put me under at that point. You know.
I should be dead, and if I go, it's like I probably deserve it. So, that's kind of where my head was.
But it's by the grace of God that we're still here having this conversation today, and hopefully somebody takes something away from it. You know.
I hope so, and like it's cool that after all this time we can kind of do this.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
it's always fun to like see humans after long absences and how we
Yeah, I
can just
know,
kind of hop
right?
back into it.
Dude, you know what's funny is, and I wanted to get this in before because Zoom's yelling at me, so before we get cut off here. But there was years ago, you gave me a book and you said, read it, it'll change your life. It was Think Big, Kick Ass by Donald Trump, and it did change my life, my friend.
That is awesome. I'm so glad. I can't believe it.
I did read
I
it, and
remember
then
that.
years later, I was doing stand up, and there was this kid who was technically still like a liberal, and I had the book, and I said, "Here, read this book. It'll change your life. There's a chapter in there on prenups that'll absolutely change your life."
That is so awesome. I love that so much.
I remember that. Yeah, you were like, "Read this. It'll change your life." And it did, my friend. That it
Dude,
did.
I was on the Donald Trump train way before he was even cool. I mean, I guess he was cool, but not like he is now, right?
Right, right, yeah. I mean, the second he came down that elevator, I was like, all right. Like, and the thing too is at the time you got a guy who's like did not give a fuck. Like the way that he absolutely went after some of those like the guys on stage, it was like, oh my god, did he really just say that to Jeb Bush? And then some of the
Yeah.
lines about Rosie, I mean, it was like this guy, this guy's the real deal. I think he's calmed down a little bit this time around, but
I,
but
you know, I think no matter, and I'll say it because this is a political show, so I do want to say this. Were you raised watching wrestling?
watching what?
Wrestling. Like,
Wrestling, a
was
little
that
bit
like
here and there, a little bit here and there. Like,
so? I was big into wrestling, and I remember when I was like an adultish, and I started hearing stories about like how all the wrestlers would go out after together and just like cause havoc amongst all the patrons of bars and cities. And I remember like hearing that and like kind of being like seeing through the game. And then there was a point that I was like I've been taking a lot of mushrooms in my day too, and I was on mushrooms, and I realized that like that's what politics is. All these fuckers just go out to the same bars. They all go out to the same restaurants and the same clubs, and they just have fun together. Then they go in the arena and they do their thing, and we all fucking hoop and ha and do the
one hundred
and
percent.
and I
Yeah,
finally realized that it's just professional wrestling for adults, and it's like it's a game you can play and it's fun, but like your body's a fun thing to worry about, and like your family, and there's just so many like I used to be very into politics to the point to where I have a degree in pretty much Austrian economics, and I could argue pretty much any political or economic system till pretty far. And I have never been happier than when I have no idea what's going on in any. I can tell you that much right now.
There's probably some truth to that. Yeah, just flying under, because it's like you said. I mean, I can tell you anytime I sit there, I'm like, the Republicans. Then they have no backbone. It's like, okay, why the fuck did they just fold like that? Like, they're both on the same side. Two sides of the, same coin. Same church, different pew, as they would say.
And they're all just trying to pay their mortgage, like you and I, right? It's a job.
Right.
It's like, and it's just the job they chose, right?
Yeah.
Some people act in movies, some people act on the stage, and some people act in a political arena. And I think if you're able, like, I don't mean don't pay attention to it or care about it, because obviously some people have to. But like, if you can, like, a big part of yoga is being able to see things from multiple planes of existence and being able to see it as a game and play it, right? Like, be in the world, but not of it, right? So it's like that, like, being able to be in the political world and like not give yourself a heart attack and be able to have fun with it and still have a backbone and like your views and entertain people. And in the end, we're just humans looking for fucking something to do, figuring out why we're here. So it's like, if that game's political for you, that's awesome. And it'll keep you busy forever, I'm sure, right?
Oh, definitely will. Yeah, that it will. Well, I appreciate you coming on, brother. I got
Thank you.
Zoom yelling.
If you ever want to do it again,
we'll do it again. We definitely will. I'll definitely. And good luck on the competitions and everything, brother.
Thank you so much, Drew. It's a pleasure to see you, brother.
Hey, good to see you too. Stay in touch, brother.
Record.
All right. So that was fun. Tony's always good to catch up with. I literally have not seen him in probably since like 2008. As the truth goes. But we got a few more videos here to get through. So remember last week we were talking about how Bibi Netanyahu might not have been alive. Well, they are starting to show the videos to make sure that everybody knows that he is alive. And there's been a lot of talk about it as well. But check this out. This is Mike Huckabee with Bibi
Mr. Prime Minister,
Netanyahu
I
here.
wanted you to know the president asked me to come and make sure you were okay.
Yes, Mike. Yes, I'm alive.
I checked that, and I'm happy to see that. But he wanted to make sure because, you guys get along too well.
I know, and we shake hands with 5 fingers in each hand. But I have to tell you, I'm alive, but I have this card.
Oh.
And yeah, don't read it. So it's a punch card.
Mm-hmm.
Today I erased 2 names on the punch cards, and you see how many more to go on this batch.
You know what the good news is? My name is not on the punch card.
Your name is on the list of the good guys.
Thank you.
And what the president, the U.S. forces are doing is incredible. We're very proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with them. And getting rid of these lunatics who would like to develop nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them to every American city after wiping out Israel. They ain't going to do that. We're wiping them out.
I love it. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. Good to see you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks. Take care.
Thank you.
So kind of strange. Obviously, he's still alive. But how weird is it that they had to feel like they needed to absolutely say that, right? So we are looking to get the SAVE Act passed, which is just all about voter ID. And it's about proving your citizenship. The Democrats obviously have a huge problem with what they want. They do not want people to have to prove their citizenship. So this is Hakeem Jeffries of the Democrats, and this is what he had to say about it. These people are nuts. I truly think they are a little crazy, and I wonder who's like listening.
Now, the United States Constitution also makes clear that only citizens can vote.
Yeah,
that's a constitutional requirement.
There's illegals voting because of people like you
are free to implement that requirement as best they see fit. In New York State, for instance, there are strong voter identification requirements that have been embraced by both Democrats and Republicans. This is a phony issue that Donald Trump is creating. Now, the United States Constitution also makes clear that
He says it's a phony thing. But we know that the Chinese were sending fake IDs to Chinese exchange students just to vote in the 2020 election. And the US government hid that. Now, voter ID is literally like a 90-10 issue. 90% of the country says you need an ID to vote, you need an ID to do anything, right? But Chuck Schumer basically admits that illegals are not going to be able to vote if the SAVE Act goes through. Listen to this guy.
Of the bill is handing the voter rolls over to DHS, putting them through an algorithm designed by Moj and Musk that supposedly knocks out illegal immigrants from voting. But the evidence is almost no illegal immigrants vote. The core of the bill.
Almost no illegals vote. But they shouldn't be voting at all there, Chucky. But I digress. Here is proof that illegals are in fact voting in this in our elections. And they shouldn't be. But here it is. And this is
in the Eastern District of Pennsylvania, arrested a 50-year-old man from Mauritania who's not a citizen, is illegally here in this country, who voted 5 times, 5 elections, or allegedly voted in 5 elections. So this is exactly why we need to bring about confidence. So that's one thing. We also, good Lord, we need to fund Department of Homeland Security. We have a domestic threat on the rise because of what's happening. Attorney in the East.
Like, it's happening. People are, in fact, illegals are, in fact, voting in those elections. And this is Senator John Barrasso on the Save America Act. Check this one out. But we need to get this passed. And Thune is doing his own little campaign to try to not do this. Listen to this.
I come to the floor today to talk about the Save America Act. I support the Save America Act. I believe that anybody that votes in an American election needs to be an American citizen. And I believe that anyone that shows up to vote needs to present a photo ID to prove they are who they say they are. Free and fair elections are the foundation of our nation. 250th anniversary this year of our founding. Voting here is about American citizens voting. And without strong protections, this foundation of 250 years will crumble. The American people are clear. They believe American elections should be decided by American citizens, not by illegal immigrants. Listen to the Democrats talk. They think it's fine. Let any illegal immigrant vote. So we hear from the minority leader yesterday in terms of what we want to do to protect the rights of American citizens, to make sure the elections are free and fair. When illegal immigrants vote, the voice of American citizens is undermined. The fact is, Joe Biden's open border policies undermine elections in this country. Under Joe Biden and the Democrats, over 10 million illegal immigrants flooded into our country. Communities all across the state. And now Democrats want to make it possible for illegal immigrants to decide the outcome of elections in this nation. Democrats are once again prioritizing illegal immigrants and illegal immigrant criminals over American citizens. And that's what they've been doing. That's why we're in the situation we are with a shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security, and why specifically today we're on the floor to talk about the Save America Act. Many far-left sanctuary cities already make it easier for illegal immigrants to vote. They've set it up that way.
It's pretty wild that we even have to have this discussion about voter ID and proving who you are to vote. Like, what type of person says, oh yeah, cheating's fine. It's just okay. It's fine. Yeah, it happens. Yeah, it's part of it. But it's people. It's just crazy. And people are just not bright. There's a group of people that probably are just not that bright, or they are, and they just hate somebody so much. But look at this. So These Democrats are out there trying to get these like ICE operations and shit. Well, they blew up one accidentally, and they were trying to get check this. They were trying to get somebody who raped a child off the street, and these crazy liberal, ugly, fat people with purple hair and shit are trying to kick him off the street, and they blew it up so they couldn't get the guy who raped a child. It's disgusting, and these people think it's okay. They've been brainwashed by some stupid fucking Democrat that thinks it's okay to harass law enforcement.
Carol, the guy in the truck right behind you too.
But I digress. These people piss me off. They piss me off. I think that shit is just such trash. But here's Senator Kennedy on. So Keir Starmer gave Trump some advice. It was bad advice. But check this one out. This is Senator Kennedy, Senator John Kennedy, saying he's not taking that advice. Check this one out.
He also is trying to give President Trump advice about how to conduct the war. That's a little bit like seeking the advice of a nun about sex. Sir Keir Starmer is the last person you would want to go to advise you about how to have a military confrontation. He's the kind of guy that he'll want to quote, if you're in the middle of a bar fight, he'll want to stop and quote Socrates. That's what this is, a bar fight.
God, I absolutely love Senator Kennedy. He has some of the greatest lines that I've ever heard. So, Trump, over the week, he put it to NATO. Listen, the Strait of Hormuz, yes, we need the oil to go through there for everybody, but the gas prices have gone up 45% for the Europeans. And while that's what's happening to the Europeans, our NATO allies want nothing to do with helping us get oil through the Strait of Hormuz. So Trump says we don't need them, but it was a test because Trump has always said we'll be there for NATO because we foot the bill, but NATO will never be there for us. And his point was proven during this one here. Check this one out.
And all of the NATO allies agreed with us, but they don't want to, despite the fact that we help them so much, we have thousands of soldiers in different countries all over the world, and they don't want to help us, which is amazing. I mean, amazing. And I didn't do a full court press because I think if I did, they probably would be. But we don't need help. That war has been long prosecuted as far as I'm concerned, almost from day one. We knocked out many of these things. We knocked out the Navy essentially in a couple of days. But I was surprised to see that NATO, while they agree that it was a very important thing to do, they agree fully. Nobody said, oh, you shouldn't do it. They would have had a nuclear weapon within 1 month of when we had the B-2 bombers bomb the nuclear potential. I call it the nuclear dust. So I think NATO's making a very foolish mistake, and I've long said that I wonder whether or not NATO would ever be there for us. So this was a great test because we don't need them, but they should have been there. The other thing is,
it was a great test. So he tested NATO, and they failed the test. They weren't going to help us. So there's that. Now, critics on CNN. They're being called out for undermining U.S. interests and echoing talking points of the Iranian regime, all under the guise of just trying to get Trump and oppose the war. But look at this.
Trump is asking
can you believe
these
these
ships
people?
to just sail through despite massive risk to human life. At least 20 vessels have been attacked in and around the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz, including 2 tankers in Iraqi waters, where, as I said, at least 1 person was killed. And a horrific death with all that flame and burning fuel or naphtha on the water surface. And Iran is leveling more threats tonight, warning it may strike the world's largest aircraft carrier in the Red Sea. That is the USS Gerald R. Ford, also now telling personnel working at U.S.-linked facilities in the region to evacuate. Now, Iran is not specifying which countries or facilities they may be targeting, so it's a broad threat. But its defiance now has Trump scrambling to seek help, to seek some sort of an alliance to try to open the Strait of Hormuz.
We strongly encourage other nations whose economies depend on the strait far more than ours. So we want them to come and help us with the strait. I think we're going to have some good help, and I think we're going to be disappointed in some nations too. You know, the Prime Minister of UK, United Kingdom, yesterday told me, I'm meeting with my team to make a determination. I said, you don't need to meet it with the team. You're the Prime Minister. You can make your own.
Of course, there are laws and rules and structures that in some countries they follow. And Trump's calls are falling on deaf ears. Here's the British Prime Minister responding to President Trump's comments today.
We will not be drawn into the wider war. We cannot allow the war in the Gulf to turn into a windfall for Putin.
So I think it's point blank. They let their country, the UK, let their country get invaded by Muslim invaders, and now they don't want to say things that might piss off those people in their country because they know that it's crazy. But Trump mocked the allies for not wanting to do that, and rightfully so. Because what type of advice is that asshole going to give? Now listen to this.
Done a great job. And when we want to know, do you have any minesweepers? Well, would rather not get involved, sir. I said, for 40 years we're protecting you, and you don't want to get involved in something that is very minor. Very few shots going to be taken because they don't have many shots left. But they said, we'd rather not get involved. I just want the fake news media and everybody else to remember that that was said, because I've been a big critic of all of the protecting of countries, because I know that we'll protect them, and if we ever needed help, they won't be there for us. I've just known that for a long period of time, just like I knew about the strait, that it would be a weapon. Done a great job.
We knew it was going to be a weapon, and we knew who was going to help us, and we knew who wasn't, based on the fact that the UK's country was just invaded by tons of that. So this is ex-CIA station chief John Caracco, however you say his name. Now, he was one that said that the United States was torturing people after 9/11. He was the whistleblower. He went to jail for some of that. Now he's talking about the Iran war. Some of it is kind of out there, but some of it is some good commentary that must be heard. So I'm going to play this one here for you. Listen to this guy here.
Iraq War. And I think that's very important, Ima, because this is something that Americans don't understand. First of all, most Americans have never heard of the Iran-Iraq War. And even the ones that remember the Iran-Iraq War have probably forgotten just how bravely Iranians fought. It was the Iranians that were the victims of aggression. It was Iraqi aggression. And it wasn't just that the Iraqis were aggressors. The Iraqis were electrifying the swamps to electrocute Iranian soldiers in southern Iraq or along the Shatt al-Arab. It was the use of chemical weapons against Iranians and against the Kurds in the north of Iraq. And the Iranians still couldn't be defeated. So that's why I said a few minutes ago that the United States and Israel, to actually declare victory, would need an unequivocal, clear-cut victory where Israel opens an embassy in Tehran and everybody, is friends. It's never, ever going to happen. And instead, I think what's going to happen is the Iranians are going to prove to be far more resilient than the West gave them credit for being, and they're going to fight back and bog the West down. And in the end, the West is going to have to withdraw, like the U.S. did from Iraq, like the U.S. did from Afghanistan and Somalia and Libya and Syria and all these other places where things have gone wrong.
And I thought that was an interesting one. Now, I don't know how many missiles they really have left, but this guy's saying some pretty crazy shit. This one here, he claims that Trump actually was the one that stopped World War III. Check this one out.
From when I joined the CIA, George H.W. Bush had just become president. The Israelis asked us to bomb Iran. Every single president. No matter who the prime minister of Israel happens to be, you gotta bomb Iran. You gotta bomb Iran. You gotta bomb Iran. And every single president said, no, we're not bombing Iran. We would never bomb Iran. Because our position was that would be the start of World War III. The reason, though, I'm told, that Donald Trump decided to bomb Iran was that the Israelis said, for the first time, if you don't bomb Iran to take out these deep bunkers, we're going to use nuclear weapons. And they had never threatened that before. And so Trump said, bombing Iran might actually save us from the start of World War III if it keeps the Israelis from using nuclear weapons.
Do you see why there's a problem with that statement, John?
Yeah.
Because they've never admitted that they've had them.
That's right.
So you're telling me that they just admitted to the President of the United States that they have nuclear weapons and we still do not have them in the IAEA treaty?
He made a good point there at the end. But yeah, their whole position is that they don't have them, and we know they do. So there's always that. Now, this one here is a guy who claims that he was told about 9/11 before it happened. Take it for whatever it's worth. I thought it was an interesting listen. Check it out. Here he is.
11 months before 9/11 ever happened, that there was going to be an event. Never told him what the event was going to be, but there was going to be an event, and out of that event, we were going to invade Afghanistan to run pipelines from the Caspian Sea. We were going to invade Iraq, to take over the oil fields, establish a base in the Middle East, and make it all part of the New World Order. And sure enough, later 9/11 happened, and I remember he was telling me how you're gonna see soldiers looking in caves for people in Afghanistan and Pakistan and all these places, and there's gonna be this war on terror, which is no real enemy, and the whole thing is a giant hoax, but it's a way for the government to take over the American people.
He told you it was going to be a hoax.
Oh yeah. The whole thing is a fake. It's a fraud.
Was he laughing, or was he just coldly saying this?
No, it was more laughing. Cynical. Laughing. It's more like, look how stupid everybody is. Look how stupid everybody. We can do whatever we want to do. 9/11 was done by people in our own government and our own banking system to perpetuate the fear of the American people into subordinating themselves to anything the government wants them to do. That's what it's about, and to create this war, this endless war on terror, an endless war on terror without any real enemy, that you can never define a winner.
And did he say that it's going to be perfect because you can't define an enemy? It just goes on?
Yeah, because you can't define a winner. There's no one to beat, so it goes on and on forever. And they can do whatever they want. They scare the hell out of the American public. Look, this whole war on terror is a fraud. It's a farce. It's very difficult to say it out loud because people are intimidated against saying it. Because if you say it, they want to make you into a nutcase. But the truth has to come out. That's why I'm doing this interview.
Pretty crazy stuff. So I'm going to do this last one here. This is a liberal woman who thinks she is a dog. And this will be my last one for you guys today. But this is what the liberals are. She thought she was a dog, so she was attacked by a dog. But that is all the time that we have this week. God bless all of you. Thank you so much for listening. And have a great week. May God be with you all. And keep the faith. We'll be back next Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks so much.